Welcome back to Horn Takes, your Texas football and baseball talk destination. I am Sean Redfern. It is Monday, but it's a short week Monday, so it's not as bad as like a normal Monday. Got Thanksgiving coming up. Thanksgiving means Thanksgiving for a very long time meant Texas A&M. And now it finally does again, and I think that's pretty freaking awesome. Despite the fact that a lot of people on both sides of this deal continuously said for the last 13 years that they didn't care if they played this game or not. They never wanted to play this game ever again, yada, yada, yada. The majority of both fan bases absolutely want to play this game, and the universities want to play this game, and the students want to play this game. I mean, think about it, like 13 years of Texas and Texas A&M students really didn't understand what this rivalry was all about. Sure, we played in baseball every year and it got chippy. Sure, we played in basketball some and it probably got chippy. It's just not the same as football. So we got a short week. We're going to do the after action review today on Kentucky. We'll also do our Trace Otra games recap from week 13. It was a Trace Otra games to forget, folks. Tomorrow we'll have the deep dive on this Texas Aggie team. We're going to try to do the whole thing. It's going to be close. Usually we do offense one day, defense another day. We're going to try to get it all done in one sitting since it's a short week. I'm definitely not doing this on Thursday. Probably not doing anything on Friday. I'll go T-Man. I'll go have some Tex-Mex and margaritas, but I'm not working for free, y'all, on my Thanksgiving holiday. And then obviously the game will be Saturday. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. You can listen to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeart Podcast, Spotify Podcasts. And I recommend you to do that. I certainly recommend you to go subscribe to the podcast at one of those places. But you're going to miss a lot because we do a lot of video stuff now. YouTube's the place to be. You can find us at Horn Takes Podcast over at YouTube. HornTakesPodcast.buzzsprout.com for the audio. If you don't like Apple, iHeart, Spotify, any of those podcast places. Trace Otra games recap week 13. We come into the week 26-7 rolling. And we rolled right into a damn wall. We got number 5, Indiana, at number 2, Ohio State. Ohio State, 13.5-point favorite in this one, man. I thought that was insane. Thought the game being at the shoe, it is what it is. Everybody's got to go on the road. If you're going to be a top flight team, you got to go on the road and beat somebody on the road. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, and I honestly don't think it was. I think Indiana just fucking pissed down their leg. They were looking good early, and then it just got completely out of hand. I mean, you can't turn the ball over the way they did. They had a fumble early in the game. They had a punt drop. The guy just dropped a punt. The punter just drops the snap. And then they give up a punt return touchdown. You just cannot do that and expect to win. I had Indiana winning this one in an upset, 24-23. Ohio State goes on to win big. And it's just one of those deals where once it started, man, it just snowballed. I think Indiana and Ohio State played again. Well, let me just say this. I don't think Ohio State is just head and shoulders better than Indiana. I think a lot went their way in that game, thusly the score of that game. But I think there's a world of possibility where this Indiana team could beat that Ohio State team. They just didn't do it on Saturday. And that's all that matters. Yeah, sometimes you see a game and you go, that team's just better. Like 9.5 out of 10 times, that team is beating that team. I didn't get that sense watching this game. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm just sour grapes because I just completely blew that one. I don't know. Number 14, BYU at number 21, Arizona State. ASU a 3-point favorite. Big matchup, right? Staying alive in the Big 12 is what this one was for ASU. Kind of seizing the opportunity and being in control the rest of the way for BYU. BYU coming off a loss last week, Arizona State coming off a big win in Manhattan last week. I thought BYU was going to walk in there and bounce back, man. I had BYU 27-24 over Arizona State, and I forgot to go get the scores for these, but I think this one wasn't all that close. It did get close late. It was not close early. It got a little close late, and there was some weird ass shit where like Arizona State had the ball on like the half-yard line and ended up on like their 43 or some crazy met. Like students rushing the field before the game was just a wild ass ending to that one. I had a big matchup of the game in this one, the Arizona State rushing attack against that BYU rush defense. Clearly, Arizona State won the battle of the running games. So I'm 0-2. Sad as hell. Got number 9 Ole Miss at Florida. Ole Miss a 10.5-point favorite. I thought the big sort of differentiator in this game was going to be who could do less stupid stuff. Ole Miss doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Florida does. Florida not wildly penalized. Ole Miss was. So kind of to me, like who doesn't step on their own, you know what, the majority of this game and piss it away? I thought Florida had a shot. I thought this one was going to be a lot closer than a lot of people thought. I certainly didn't think Ole Miss was covering 10.5 points. I had Ole Miss winning this one 31-23 because I figured they would do some dumb stuff. They just did a lot of dumb stuff. They had 3 turnovers. They were 0 for 3 in the red zone. Like, man, like, I don't know, like 2 of 13 from on third. Like, they were just bad. Florida just kicked their ass. So I was 0-3 in Trace Otra games week picks this week. Man, I've never gone 0-3. We've been doing this for, man, I think we've been doing this at least almost 2 seasons now. I think maybe I did it towards the end of the first year I casted pods. So I'm not 100% sure. But it's been a long time. It's been at least like roughly 2 seasons not having gone 0-3. And now it's happened. It's always, I mean, all good things must come to an end, I guess. Just what a wild ass day of football. I mean, I could have gone wrong on a lot of games. Even ones that you looked at and went, nah, that's a gimme. We would have been wrong. So we're 26-10 on the season. Still really good. Not perfect. Not as good as we were, but still really good. Join us, man. I have to do Trace Ocher games picks on Wednesday, I think. There's no way I'm going to get them in on a show on Tuesday. It ain't going to happen. Too much info. I'll lose you guys. The after action review, folks, on this Kentucky game. Texas wins 31-14 over Kentucky, puts them in the driver's seat in the SEC, puts them in the driver's seat, controlling their own destiny regarding playoffs. Just win, man. We've been saying it all year. We've been saying it since the Georgia loss. When it kind of became obvious to me that because of the schedule, because of there not being any opportunities for Texas to play a big time matchup like that Georgia matchup was at the time. I don't know that I would call a Georgia matchup at this point a big time matchup, but it was certainly at the time. Battle of 2 top 5 teams, lots of hype. Because of that, I thought Texas was kind of in a playoff situation. Like you got to keep winning, and that's all they've done is just keep winning. They've won in some blowouts, they've won in some close games, but they've just kept winning. They got to do it one more time in a rivalry game against Texas A&M this Saturday. I, there's been some weird games in the Texas A&M and Texas rivalry. I don't think it's quite on the same level as Red River Shootout in terms of some of the just crazy ass shit. By that I mean like teams winning games in that series that just absolutely have no business doing it. So Texas keeps getting it done. Let's talk about how they did it against Kentucky. Total yards, Texas had 441 yards. They held Kentucky to 232 yards of offense. Texas defense has only given up 300 yards one time this year out of 11 games. That's pretty phenomenal. Passing yards, Texas with 191, Kentucky with 211. A lot of those came late. They brought in their backup quarterback, and Texas had a couple of little blown coverages. Gave up some yards there, but a lot of that came really really late. And so I'm not as miffed about it as I would be if it was like the beginning of the game where they were hitting us for big plays. Texas 20 of 31 through the air, 64%, almost 65%. Kentucky 13 of 25 through the air, 52%. Texas throws 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kentucky has 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Here's where Texas really dominated this game. 250 rushing yards on 47 attempts, 5.31 yards per carry for Texas. Kentucky, 21 yards on 30 attempts, 0.7 yards per carry. And these stats, though, folks, they can be a little bit deceiving. Yeah, certainly they count. But the Kentucky running backs actually had a pretty good day. Texas just had 6 sacks in this game, and a lot of them were for really big yardage, taken away from that net average for Kentucky. Texas with 2 touchdowns on the ground, Kentucky 0. Texas also coughed the ball up twice, and they coughed it up way more than that. They just only lost it twice. 6 fumbles according to the stat sheet. 6 fumbles for this Texas Longhorn team. Kentucky with 5 didn't lose a single one according to the stat sheet. Texas really good on third downs on offense. Last week or 2 weeks ago when they go to Arkansas, they were not good at all. Bounce back from that for sure. Kentucky was absolute garbage, and it's not even their fault. Like I say they were garbage. They were 16.6% on third down. This Texas defense, folks, it's just really good. It's ridiculous how good they are. And they get you in third and long and you're in trouble. It's not impossible, but it's gonna take a lot of stuff going right to convert consistently against this team on third and anything over 5-6 yards. It's kind of refreshing. I remember all throughout the Charlie Strong, Tom Herman eras, third and it didn't matter. And even early on in the Steve Sarkisian era, third and it almost did not matter. Like there was a really good chance the offense was picking that up. A few years ago, Steve Sarkisian brings the Longhorns to Lubbock. They they converted 3 third downs that were over a quarter of the field against Texas. Yes, you heard that right. That's how bad third down defense used to be for Texas. Absolutely phenomenal today. Texas was 66% on fourth down. So was Kentucky. Red zone percentage, Texas 80% in the red zone, Kentucky's 50% in the red zone. 5 penalties to 6 penalties. Not a huge difference there. 6 sacks to the 1 sack for Kentucky, so a big difference there for the Texas Longhorns. Statistically, just an absolute dominating game. The passing game, man, we miss some. And I say that a lot. We miss some. We do it every single week. That could have easily been much worse. And then I think pretty much the whole fourth quarter we ran the ball. So I mean, I, I would love to continuously see 250 yards rushing and almost 200 yards passing. I will do that every single week. Players that popped in this game, man, I don't think you can start this conversation. It kind of starts and ends, honestly, with Ant Hill. That dude, just a phenomenal game. 11 tackles, 7 solo, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble all over the field. Ant Hill. He just keeps getting better and better. And that dude did not make the Butkus Award finals. I don't even know how that's possible. There's got to be some dumbass rule or unwritten rule that like underclassmen can't be up for that award or something. You put his numbers against any of the four finalists, and they're not even close. Robberation job right there by the Butt Award Committee or however the hell they pick that thing. Y'all are wrong. Y'all need to y'all need to find number 0 on some Texas games because I don't know what y'all are smoking. It's all about hype. That's the problem. These guys don't watch all the games, obviously. There's probably some linebacker at some school that nobody watches that's just like phenomenal. He'll go to the NFL. He'll be an all pro guy, and nobody will ever heard of him. But Ant Hill popped hard on Saturday. Another group, this is a group, and we've done this before, but man, I think this was probably their best game. The offensive line was just outstanding on Saturday. Quinn Ewers only sacked once. The pass pro was really, really, really solid in this game. Quinn Ewers had a lot of time. He had clean pockets. They did a really good job picking up the switches. Man, Kentucky did a lot of stunting. They did an outstanding job picking all that stuff up, giving Quinn time. 250 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And I thought they had a pretty clean game penalty wise. And I mean, when your head coach says, your offensive play caller says, we're going to run it this entire drive, and you just do it, and it goes a long way, and it's a lot of plays. Good on them. We'll see some film of these guys, man. They just absolutely, it was good. Really, really good. If they can replicate that this weekend, just the execution, Texas has a really, really good shot walking out of Kyle Field with a win. And I think Trey Wisner, man, 26 carries, 158 yards, a touchdown. He was good in pass pro. These running backs, Trey Wisner, Jaden Blue, and to a lesser extent now, but Jarrett Gibson earlier in the season, you could kind of just trade those guys out. I mean, they're all kind of different in the way they run. They all have a little bit different skill set. But like they've each gone for over 100 this year, I think. They've each sort of ended up being the feature guy in a game. They got the hot hand. Coach would stay with them. So I think all three of those guys can be the guy if they have to be. There is some issues with holding on to the football, obviously. We talked about that a little bit in Drunk Sean Thoughts yesterday. Man, I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if you can fix that. I mean, I know it can be fixed, but I don't. It's kind of like the saying, your record. You are what your record says. Like you are what a guy that's got 10 criminal convictions. That guy's a criminal. The guy that like just can't win at anything. He's just not a winner. And the guy that just continuously fumbles the ball, man, he just has got problems holding on to the football. I mean, I don't. It sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't. I know this in a big game like the ones Texas is about to play from here on out. Like whatever happens Saturday, there'll be another big game for Texas. You absolutely cannot be fumbling the ball like that. You just can't. And Saturday, it was like the whole team. Jarrett Gibson fumbled the ball. His only carry, he fumbled the ball. Silas Bolden makes a really nice catch and run, fumbles the ball. Gets it back, but still fumbled the ball. All right, folks, let's check tape real quick. Folks, this segment could have been like 2 hours long, 3 hours long. I could have done like 70 plays from the offense, 70 plays from the defense. Obviously, I'm being facetious. I don't think they had that many plays. Point being, there was a lot of material when you start talking about checking tape, and there were just too many plays to look at. We'll start with the offense, and we're kind of going to go through like a Quinn Ewers section of this. We're going to go through a running game section of this, and then kind of a this is what the running game can do for you section of it. Because y'all know if you've been watching this, you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've just man I've been on this. We got to run the football thing for forever, for 2 years, 2.5 years. It like drives me nuts. And so to me, this is kind of like some vindication. Like all the stuff I'm trying to tell you guys, this game like personifies it so much. And honestly, I'm happy as hell about that. I'm also like still frustrated with the way Steve Sarkisian handled the running game in this game. Not because of output. You can sit there and go, oh, we had 250 yards. Man, I don't give a shit how many yards we had. The only stat that really matters is like the score, right? But there's like ways to build the score. Football is not a complicated game, but it's a complex game. There's a lot of different ways to get to your goal. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit about that. Quinn Ewers, man, we talk all the time about how good he is in this short and intermediate game. So we'll show a few plays of that. We got 3rd and long right here. It's a cover 3 look with a robber to the boundary. You see him sitting there in between the number and the hash. It looks like it's going to be almost kind of like this picket fence thing we've been talking about the last couple weeks. But what you'll see is the corner will sort of bail and he'll step up a little bit, that robber look. What he's doing is trying to bait Quinn Ewers into making a throw. We snap the ball. Quinn's looking at Golden the whole time. He gets it out on time. Right here, he's covered up pretty good. And I want y'all to understand this. Quinn made a really outstanding throw just to the outside. He got it past that robber. He got it away from that corner. And then Golden makes an outstanding play. Really good hands right there on that play for Golden. Big time throw, big time catch. That right there, Quinn Ewers does about as good as you can possibly do it. Here we go. 1st and 10. We got a terrible camera angle here, but you're going to see off to the right. Quinn's going to be looking for Golden again. He's going to get it out quickly. He's going to get it out on time. It's an easy pitch and catch for 5 yards. There he is on that little out. Bam, the ball's there. No chance of any kind of interception, no chance of a turnover there really, unless for some reason Golden pops it up in the air or it gets batted at the line of scrimmage. But a good quick timing play. And again, Quinn outstanding on those types of plays. Here we go, 2nd and 3. We're going to get some play action here. Watch Quinn drop this ball into a bucket to Bond about 25 yards down the field. This is an absolute man from the side. So you don't get this angle during the game unless you're watching Statcast, or Skycast, which I'm not going to do because I don't think they have. I don't think they have the announcers on Skycast for the Arkansas and Tennessee game. They didn't, which was awesome because you got the crowd noise in the background. It was really cool. But when I'm watching Texas, I want to hear them. I want to hear the commentary so I can yell at it and tell them they're wrong and all that stuff. But you don't get the same kind of view, obviously, from the side. From the side, I thought this was an amazing pass. From the Skycast view, just phenomenal. Watch this pass. Here goes a little play action. He drops back. He sees what he wants. Look at that ball, man. Right over I guess that's a linebacker. Maybe it's a safety on a robber technique. I'm not going to rewind it to see. Just a perfect pass in between 5 guys. Like he put that about the only place possible he could have put that for us to make a play. And yeah, Bond didn't get to run and all that stuff. But still, I don't care. You throw a pass like that, and that was 25 yards in the air, folks, not a 25-yard pickup. Really outstanding pass. That's Quinn Ewers on the short and intermediary. Here we go with some bad for Quinn Ewers, and this is where he really struggles. And I think this is why a lot of people feel like Quinn Ewers is holding us back offensively. It's a 2nd and 5. They're going to try to hit the deep ball. He's going to have Bond on the post. And I think if he puts this ball on the A in Texas in the end zone, this is an easy score. Instead, he kind of throws it where Bond kind of has to slow down and get more vertical instead of continuing on his post. And the DB is able to catch up, get back into position. You guys tell me what you think. But I think if he hits the A, I mean, I think he kind of threw it too soon. But certainly if he hits the A, this is 6. Here we go with a little play action. There's the post. He lets her go. It ends up about the X. That ball needed to be a little more horizontally to the right on that A and let Bond continue to run away from that defender. Instead, he had to get a little vertical to readjust to where the ball was going. He had to slow down a little bit to readjust to where the ball was going. Defensive back catches up. See, that is like a play that you have to make because there's like 2 types of deep balls. There's the one that's super contested because the guy's just covered up, and it's kind of a prayer. It's like a 50-50 ball. You hear that all the time. It's a 50-50 ball. You're just trying to get it out there, hope your guy can make a play, or you hope maybe the defender interferes. You get a flag. This is the other kind where your guy is just ridiculously wide open, and you throw him into coverage. And that's just what happened right there on that play. So really rough on the deep ball for Quinn. I don't think that's changing. I think that is what it is. I think he's going to hit one every once in a while, but it's just not going to be consistent enough. Play 5, we got 3rd and 13. Wingo is about to hit this cover 3 with an out and up type deal. Watch this pass Quinn throws. It's like so. Well, first of all, watch Wingo on the right there. He's going to get up, hit the little out, get up underneath him, get going. He's open. He's beat him. He has beat the cornerback. He has beat the safety. He is open. But Quinn throws such an uncatchable ball that the pass interference that's pretty obvious on this play, it was obvious from the side. It's certainly obvious here. Like, I don't think the official even thought he could throw it. Not that the pass was uncatchable. It was just not a competitive pass. You would be sort of, in my opinion, you would be rewarding the quarterback and the offense for throwing such a bad ball that it kind of turned into pass interference because of that. Watch the rest of the play. The ball, like Wingo has to look back over his head and try to back up to catch this ball. Again, Quinn just missing the target. That ball should have been much further inside the hash. And if he does that, it's 6. Wingo had him beat. So just really bad inaccuracy down the field. And it is costing Texas points. Now, is it hurting Texas? Probably not. Those are not high percentage passes anyway. But you'd like to be able to hit those because those are the types of plays that win games. Here we go with another one for Quinn. This is 3rd and 2 with 19 seconds left in the half. What I want y'all to notice right now pre-snap, and I know the ball just snapped, but look to the right of that Kentucky defense. Like you're facing on, look to the right side. There's a lot of guys in coverage right there. You really got 4 guys sort of covered up 4 different guys, right? Which is what you would expect because there's 4 offensive players on that side of the formation. So Sark kind of dials up these little shallow crossers, and Quinn is going to lock on to DeAndre Moore, number 0, right there in the slot. And it's probably because of that pre-snap look. I mean, you got 4 guys over here in the secondary. Over here, you only got 2 guys. I'm going to go where the numbers seem better, right? The problem is, we'll roll it a little further. Right here, the clear outs work just absolutely amazing. And so all that traffic that Quinn thought he was going to have over on the right side is not there anymore at all. In fact, there's more traffic following DeAndre Moore, and he's going to run into more traffic on the left side of the defense than what there is on the right side of the defense. So if Quinn hits Wingo like right now, he's going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown. Instead, he throws it to DeAndre Moore. There's too many people over there. It wasn't a competitive pass. Just not the right spot for the ball. Wingo wide open, literally scampers into the end zone for a touchdown right there. That would make it 28 to what? 28-3 right there. Instead, we kick a field goal. Listen, I'm not trying to be critical. QBs miss sometimes. They miss passes, they miss reads. Those 3 misses right there, though, were big time misses. Like, that's 3 touchdowns. And that's in the first half of the game. Let's take a quick look at the Texas running game, man. It was outstanding in this game. They did it a lot of different ways, too. That's what I really like about it. It was real multiple. I'm a huge power guy. I'm not a big zone guy. The zone happened to work pretty well this Saturday. The power game worked really well as well. But let's look at it a little bit. We got 1st and 10. We got a pistol look here. It's just going to be an inside zone to Trey Wisner to the right. I want y'all to watch Jake Majors and DJ Campbell. Just beautiful work right here. You're going to see DJ Campbell kind of kick out his man. He's going to seal him off. You're going to see Jake Majors get up on a linebacker, get his butt around, and seal him off. If Hayden Connor can keep his butt perpendicular, that left guard, watch what he does. He's going to make a really good initial block, but he's just going to get too wrapped around, get his butt too far around, and that's going to allow that defender to get right up under him and make the tackle here. If he doesn't do that, I think Trey Wisner off to the races. We got a 2nd and 4 here. This is a really cool one. You're going to see Blue. He's going to motion in from the left. He's going to orbit back behind the formation, behind the quarterback, behind Wisner. Quinn's going to reverse out, fake it to Blue, and then kind of hand it off to Wisner underneath. It's a really interesting look. You're going to see Campbell block down. You're going to see Connor pull, go up through on the right side. You're going to see Helm follow him. And I'm going to pause it, and you're just going to see another absolute gaping hole for Wisner to run through. There's Campbell on your block down. Big hole for Wisner to run through. All he's got to do is make one move. He doesn't get the move made, but he picks up 6 yards really before he's ever touched. You could just keep doing that over and over and over again, and that's what they did on Saturday. We got a 1st and 10 here. We got 2 tight. Went under center in like a little eye look. Kind of cool. You don't see this a whole lot out of Texas. You're going to see Campbell pull around to the left. Quinn's going to reverse out, and it's going to be like a little delay action for Jaden Blue. And he's just going to find some space there on the left side and squirt through for a 6-yard gain. There goes Campbell. There's the little delay. He's just going to pick his spot, find a little crease, get up the field for a 6-yard gain. The other thing that I always talk about when we talk about this Texas running game, it's not so much running the ball. It's like running the ball with intent. I hate sideways. Let's get the ball. Running sideways is really hard for offensive linemen because it is hard to maintain blocks that long. But it's not hard to maintain blocks really quickly. The only way those types of plays get blown up, if you're hitting the line of scrimmage really quick as a running back, is if someone just misses their guy. There's a very small window for someone to get off of a block or for someone to just completely sort of get manhandled trying to attempt their block. Here we go, another 1st and 10. Right side's going to block everything down. We're going to see this guard tight end counter look that we just saw a minute ago. There's going to be an absolute crater of a hole for Wisner to run through. He's going to pick up 17 on this. Watch the right side of the line just wash everything down. Boom. Right now, if you're Trey Wisner, you're just like licking your chops. Like Quinn can't get him the ball fast enough because you're going to get the kick out here by Connor. Helm's going to pull up through that big gaping hole and get up on that linebacker, and Wisner's going to be gone. 17. Quick ones, folks. That is the Texas running game that I'm talking about. That, I believe, this team can just do very consistently, which is why I get so mad when we just run, like pass the ball like crazy. Up next, we have a little student body action. This is kind of an interesting play because you're going to see Hayden Collier. He's going to pull from the left side to the right side, kind of like a false key, I think, trying to pull some of those linebackers and maybe some of those secondary guys with him. And Blue's just going to give like this little inside move. It's not even much of a counter action, but he's sort of trying to simulate a zone or a counter play back to the other direction like they've run multiple times in this game already. And then he's just going to move to the outside, take a quick toss. That little move inside got 11 off his track just enough coming off the edge here. You'll see it in just a second to kind of let Jaden Blue squirt to the outside and pick up a really nice gain. Call this the student body. I think that's basically what it is, man. Everybody's going one direction. Now watch Juan Davis. Really, kudos to that guy. He didn't bury number two. He just got in number two's way. That's all you got to do to block people. He wasn't even facing him. He had his back to him. But you know what? Number two didn't make a tackle. So youngsters, oldsters, people out there that might get to block people, you don't have to knock everybody over. You don't even have to put your hands on them. You don't even have to see them. You just got to get in their way. And that's exactly what Juan Davis did there. Really effective. Here's another look that we haven't seen much, if at all, this year. It's 1st and 10. Quinn's in the gun. You got it like an offset eye look, and that's DeAndre Moore playing the quote-unquote fullback position. And it's just going to be a little inside zone to the right. Moore's going to do that tight end thing that Helm does a lot, come back across the formation just to be there to seal off. You're going to see Blue attack the outside buttock of the right guard, find a crease, cut up field, nice 9-yard gain. And watch this big hole, folks. I mean, this was just every single play. These guys are making space for these running backs. Boom, there's a little cutback. That's the type of play you make one guy miss, you're off to the races. All those big gains on the ground not only count as big gains on the ground, they not only wear out the defense, but they make play action deadly. We're about to see the same look we saw earlier with two back set and that little orbit motion, except we're going to be doing it to the other side of the field. And only this time, Texas is passing the ball. Look at all the space created by this play action. Right here on the dig. Wide open right there in the middle of the field. Tons of space. Easy pitch and catch. He had time. The offensive line did an out because that was kind of a slow developing deal. The offensive line does an outstanding job giving Quinn time. He makes an on-time, accurate, intermediate throw, which is what he does best. Boom, big yards. That play is not possible if you guys aren't running the ball down Kentucky's throat by this point in the game. This one actually, I don't think is play action, like in meaning to be play action. But watch this. The snap looks like it comes to the snap comes up to the right side of Quinn Ewers. So it to the defenders, it almost looks like he's trying to hand the ball off to Wisner just enough. Watch the linebackers; they kind of just freeze. One's in man coverage; he'll continue to follow Wisner. The other just kind of gets no depth at all because he's frozen. And I don't know if he's getting back into this zone to make this a tougher throw. But certainly, if there was a drag route or a dig in behind it, it would have been there. Quinn is able to deliver just an absolute fantastic throw to Helm. Watch this play action. Watch the linebacker just kind of freeze. Doesn't really move in the zone at all. He's just there hopping around. And Quinn delivers a beaut, man, in between two guys. That is, again, that intermediate throw. And I know that one was vertical. It wasn't as long vertical, but that was beautiful, man. Great pass, great catch by Gunnar Helm. What a season that guy's turning in. Just absolute big time. There's a lot of Texas Longhorns making money. He's one of them. For the defense, it was a day of pressure. It was a day of turnovers. We could have done a trillion of the defensive plays as well. This one's 3rd and 7. Texas, you got those wide 9 look. You got Sorrell playing defensive tackles. There's a lot of speed, a lot of pass rush ability on the field right now. Sorrell and Moore on the right side going to immediately get pressure on the quarterback, cause him to step up, cause him to step out, make an errant throw, force a punt. Here we got 3rd and 6 coming up. You got Colin Simmons, Vernon Broughton. They're both going to beat their man up the field. Vandergriff, let's roll it a little more. Right here, there's Simmons at the right side of the screen. You're just seeing Vernon Broughton get around his man. Vandergriff has no choice but to step up and try to get out of the pocket. Barron Sorrell, Ty Anthony Smith come and clean it up, force another punt. That's the whole game. That is happening the absolute entire game to this Kentucky offense. Anthony Hill, we talked about him earlier, player that popped. He was an absolute menace on Saturday. Just ridiculous. Here he's going to come on a quick blitz. The protection calls for the running back to come over and try to get in his way, and he did a pretty decent job of it. Here he comes. Right now, Vandegrift's looking off to the right. I don't think he quite sees Hill coming, but the running back has to flash in front of the quarterback to pick this up. And I think he did a pretty good job, but I think all that movement caused by Hill getting into the backfield so quickly, kind of just the presence of him being there, caused him to overreact to try to get to the left, and he just loses his balance, falls down for a sack. It looks like he kind of lost his footing a little bit. That's Ant Hill, man, on the blitz. It is freaking ridiculous. We said yesterday, if he was playing out on the edge or blitz just a lot, and Texas doesn't do it, he might have 15 sacks this year. And then you couldn't not give him the Butkus Award finalist. This running play right here, and this is something that Ant Hill's gotten a lot better at. He's always been an athlete. He's always been able to run. He's been able to blitz. We saw that as a true freshman. This is a really good play by Ant Hill on this run play right here. Kentucky has numbers. Trying to get outside. You're going to see Ant Hill. He's right on the hash right now. The motion's going to come across. He's going to kind of shift over a little bit. He's going to do an outstanding job on run fit. He's going to take on this block with his inside shoulder, and he's going to do it very aggressively. And he just piles everything up. There's nowhere for anybody to go, and sort of the cavalry comes along and cleans it up. But if he just doesn't hold his ground and he doesn't attack it the way he attacks it, the running back could bounce. There could be a big hole for the running back to run through, and there just wasn't. Watch this play by Hill. This is a big offensive guard he's going to take on. Bam! Just kind of stymies him up right there. And then there's a tight end leading up through all that. Like, this looks, if he gets Anthony Hill maybe a yard further to the outside, this is a big hole. And this is going to go for a lot of yards. But instead, he can't push Anthony Hill. Anthony Hill, just continues to, try to tackle this guy and push him back into the play. And then everybody shows up, and it's just kind of like a rugby scrum. But you see Anthony Hill right there at the bottom, tackling the offensive lineman. Big-time play by Anthony Hill. That's something, again, that he hasn't always been that great at. He's getting a lot better at it. He's starting to understand how to play football. We've seen the Texas DBs find work and cover large amounts of space really quickly a lot this season to make plays. We've seen some really amazing interceptions out of this Texas secondary. Right here, Jelani McDonald's going to kind of do the same thing. You see him right here on the hash, just to the left of that SEC emblem. He's going to reroute the wide receiver. They run a little motion out. This receiver that you see right here is going to come inside a little bit. Jelani McDonald's just going to reroute him, and then he's going to look into the backfield. And we'll pause it right when that happens so you can see that. There's the reroute. He's looking away from the quarterback. Watch what he does. He immediately shifts his hips. He immediately turns to look at the quarterback. He sees it. He sees the quarterback. Right now, the quarterback's throwing the ball. I want you to look where he's at. He's on about the 25-yard line. Let's say he's on the 26-yard line. The ball's out, and the ball is going to about the 35-yard line, just to the right of the hash mark. Watch how much ground he covers. And Vandegrift has a big arm. Watch how much ground he covers. It's got to be at least 12 linear yards because he's running at an angle. He's not running straight back to that 35-yard line. And just makes an outstanding diving catch. Dude, that is pretty. And we've seen this Texas defense do similar things multiple times this year. Uh, just an outstanding group. They had another interception late in the game. Andrew Makuba picks one off on a deep ball. Great game by this Texas defense. Officiating was awful. Missed pass interference on that Wingo play. I'm willing to give him a pass. It was not a very catchable ball. Terrible defensive delay of game in this game. Uh, Defensive linemen can move around however they want as long as they're not in the neutral zone. Moving and the offensive line moves is not a penalty on the defense. So unless Big Alfred Collins made some sort of noise when he moved, terrible call. Terrible roughing the passer late in the game. Just really ticky tack. Terrible unnecessary roughness early on the game against Kentucky. So just to show you guys I'm not biased, Quinn Ewers was definitely completely in bounds when that guy pushed him. So the officiating sucked in this game, but it was even worse in the other games. We talked about that yesterday on Drunk Sean Thoughts. We're not gonna belabor that anymore. Final thoughts are 4 keys. We're prioritized the running game. And I think they got there in the fourth quarter, which Steve Sarkisian does a lot. But listen, folks, 14 of the first 20 plays in this game were passes. 17 of the first 26 plays of this game offensively were passes. During that stretch, Texas averaged 8.44 yards per carry on the ground. 7 of the next 11 offensive plays were running back runs. Finally, he's starting to get it. Texas averaged almost 6 yards per carry on that drive and scored its second touchdown on that drive. We've been talking a lot about the correlation between Texas scoring touchdowns and Texas running the football. It's a lot. It heavily favors the running game. Key number 2 was no big plays defensively. They got some down the field late in the game, and the run defense gave up a couple little longer runs, but nothing hurtful. No scoring plays, no big scoring plays. And I think if you can keep teams from being able to do that, you make it really hard on them to keep going up and down the field. We said key number 3 was keep taking the ball away. They had 2 interceptions, a bunch of fumbles on the ground for Kentucky. They just couldn't get on them. Key number 4 was be big up front offensively. I mean, I think that one speaks for itself. The protection was outstanding. They went on a 15-play, 86-yard drive for a touchdown in which every single carry was a run. I'm not going to do the math off the top of my head, but I think it was like 5.7 yards per carry they had on that drive. Only time Quinn really got flushed out of the pocket was kind of like from a coverage perspective. There wasn't a lot of immediate pressure that caused Quinn Ewers to have to do something he didn't want to do. And that's obviously what you want to see. We had Texas winning this one 27-13 over Kentucky. We thought it would be kind of a slow start, and I think it was kind of a slow start. And we almost nailed the score. We win 31-14. It wasn't as slow as I anticipated. But it wasn't this was a 7-7 game into the second quarter. Pretty far into the second quarter. It kind of got out of hand for Texas towards the end of the second quarter. Defensively, we talked about it. Couple of little blown coverages. They'll get that fixed. The run defense, tiny bit leaky. Do not care. The pass rush was outstanding once again. 6 sacks, tons of QB pressures. Had to be. They forced turnovers. Kentucky had 1 double-digit drive plays. They had 2 drives over 39 yards the whole game. 4 of the drives in this game were for 10 yards or less. Just a dominating performance by the defense. Offensively, they were about what we expected. Quinn's Quinn. You're going to have some outstanding stuff. You're going to have some puzzling stuff. And then you're going to have some stuff that's just kind of bad. And that's just Quinn, and that's all right. Generally, overall, he's a really good player. He's a plus for the Texas offense. So don't take me wrong. But we're gonna tell the truth around here. And he misses stuff. He misses reads. He misses deep balls. I know he doesn't want to. Nobody wants him to, except the other team. I still say we got to prioritize the running game even more than we already are. The running backs averaged more per carry yesterday than we did per attempt passing the ball. When I say yesterday, I meant Saturday. I don't think we'll ever hit a long ball again. That's just kind of a drunk Sean thought that just came out today when I was putting this together. But he did lay a pretty nice one into Bond in the end zone in the second quarter. Just couldn't quite handle it. Might have been some pass interference on that one, too. And then again, we cannot talk enough about this offensive line. If that offensive line and that defensive line play like that the rest of this season, Texas is going to be really hard to beat, for sure. So there was the after-action review on the Kentucky Wildcats. We'll be back Tuesday with a deep dive on these Texas Aggies. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Give us a subscribe. Give us a follow. Won't cost you guys a thing, but we sure do appreciate the support. You can email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love them all. You guys have a good, happy Thanksgiving short week. We'll be back tomorrow. If you're traveling, be safe. Be with family and friends, folks. It's important. You guys get hooked.